Good morning. There's been a lot of talk in the last couple of weeks about community cards, so I wanted to put my 2 cents in. Um, Community cards, I think, are a great idea, especially if your business demographics don't support doing a 9 by 12, a full 9 by 12, 10,000 pieces. At that price point because it's it's difficult. I was going to do a whole video on the demographics, but I'll touch upon it briefly. Uh, just as the middle class in America is narrowing, the middle ground in business is narrowing. In many areas, it's a huge divide. You're either a franchise or you're a small independent business. And that is what presents the problem for a lot of you that are having real difficulty selling a full run 9 by 12 to merchants, because the franchises, you don't really want the franchises, but the franchises, they're paying franchise fees. Most of them are paying a percentage of their sales for advertising. Most of them are in shopping centers where the rent is essentially their advertising. They're paying for the traffic that the shopping center creates. Excuse me. um, Still getting my coffee in me. So the franchise is not really what you want to go for. Part of my philosophy is I want to support the homegrown hometown businesses. Now I understand that franchises, they're all independently owned. Most of them are independently owned businesses. They are, in a sense, small business people, but they have traffic and advertising built into their franchise. Most of them. I will make some exceptions for franchises that I know for a fact really give no support to their franchisees other than the name. But most of those, again, are in a location that generates traffic, so they're less of a concern. Your real target is services. And, of course, there's personal services, health services. Those are usually bricks and mortar and located not necessarily in a storefront, but in an office or industrial or semi-industrial mixed-use area. So they're good. And then there's the home services, which most of those are small businesses. Some are indeed franchises, and they aren't bricks and mortar. Their offices, their vehicle, and their signage is whatever on their vehicle. That is one of your prime targets, and they are the middle ground businesses. Excuse me. That really support a full 9 by 12 run. Unfortunately, a lot of towns don't have a lot of those businesses in them. They've got the franchises and the shopping centers. They've got smaller, what I call semi-businesses. Yeah, they're home-based, handymen and a lot of crafts type businesses, what have you. But no real core homeowner service businesses, at least not a sufficient quantity to support a 9 by 12 full run. A lot of the smaller towns are supported by those businesses, but those businesses are outlying. They're not in the town. Some of them are, in my situation, we're served a lot by a city that's actually across the state line. You know, it's not even in the same state, but they're all licensed to do business here. So sometimes you have to reach out a little broader than your local area. You have to look at who's serving your area, not who's just in your area. Um, and even then, sometimes it's difficult to get enough uh, vendors or vendors that are willing to pay that price point for a 10,000 run, even sometimes a 5,000 run. So in that sense, community cards are great because you're breaking it down into a smaller segment, lowering the price point to where, I mean, unless you just simply don't understand advertising at all, which unfortunately a lot of small business owners don't. It's just difficult to refuse the price point. You're talking anywhere from 150 to 250 depending on what area you're in. Where I really disagree, though, is everybody wants to reduce the size of the card to like 6.5 by 12. And I think that is not a great idea because you started this with the concept of a 9 by 12 and all the exposure advantages that a 9 by 12 offers. And it dominates the mailbox. You have larger ad sizes. And honestly, it's not a huge difference in price between the 6.5 by 12 and a 9 by 12. To me, it's not worth it. Because if you start with the 9 by 12 format, as you gain popularity and people are seeing it's working, other businesses will engage. They'll want to get involved. They'll want to get on there. And you can start expanding your area. You can, even if you're doing community cards, you're probably going to be doing more than one card. You're going to be running multiples so you can fill them at a low price point and fill them quickly. I would do a minimum of 3, and the reason for that is, take Valpak, for example. I just got my Valpak yesterday. I can pretty much tell you who's in there before I even open the envelope, and you're probably the same. It's always the same vendors, always the same businesses. Once in a while there's a new service in there that's trying it out, and they might be locked in for 3 mailings or something because they signed a deal. And with a community card, you have an opportunity to avoid that. If you get at least 3 communities, I would rotate. You're going to have some businesses that are going to be in for the long run. But I would try to rotate the businesses to each community so that if you have 3 communities, you're going to get, each community is going to get the exposure of an advertiser once a quarter. And they're getting some repetition, but by rotating, you're getting more exposure for the business in different areas, and the card is not going to look stale. It's not going to show up every month with the exact same advertisers on it. You don't want the recipient to be desensitized to where they don't pay attention to the card anymore. If they keep picking it up and it's pretty much the same businesses each and every time, a lot of people aren't going to take the time to look at that card and see, hey, what's new? I mean, it's going to look the same to them, especially if you have the same major advertisers. So with a community card, you can sell a community and sell rotation. You can, let them know that if they continue, you're going to rotate them to different communities and expand their exposure. And that opens up each community for more advertisers who may be at this point disappointed that they didn't get on the card originally. So if you're rotating, you can still keep the non-compete policy. You're never going to have competing businesses on the same card, but that doesn't mean you can't rotate those out to different communities and put another real estate agent on this card for this community. Um, doesn't mean you can't have more than one business type within the rotation. So um, the rotation works good if you're going to do a community card. But I really strongly suggest that you avoid reducing the size of the card. Stick with the 9x12. That's what dominates the mailbox. It's the larger ad. And as you become known, as your card becomes proven, you're going to get a lot more people interested in it. And it's very likely that you'll be able to expand to a bigger mailing, even as far as up to 10,000. If you do 3 communities, you're almost there anyway. The trick is getting some to sign up for all 3. That gives you stair steps. You can sign up for 1 card, 2 card, 3 cards. You can, and if you're just going to sign up for 1 card, if you repeat, you get in the rotation. So the 9x12 is where it's at. That's always been the selling point, is that large, glossy, full color card dominating the mailbox. And to change that, you're almost hypocritical. It's very important. To me, it's very important maintaining that 9x12 format. If there's only, with my print vendor, the difference between the 6.5x12 and the 9x12 for printing and shipping is about $130. That's like $8 per advertiser. It's not going to kill you to absorb that $130, and in the long run, I think it's going to be much better. The other thing is, if you're doing community cards, I really recommend doing it yourself. Do the fulfillment yourself. You're talking, 100 pieces to a bundle, so you're talking 25 bundles. It's not that difficult. And I believe that even if you want somebody to fulfill for you, you really need to learn how to do it yourself. That's fine. Once you've done it and know how it works, you've done it for yourself, and you still want to have somebody else do the fulfillment, that's fine. Community cards, I just do it myself. Save the money. You're not talking about a huge amount anyway, but if you print 2,500 and fulfill yourself, you should walk away with, even if your price point is $150 per ad, you should still walk away with in excess of $1,200, which I think is good. But I like to stress that learn how to do everything yourself. If you jump right into having fulfillment, you're not going to know it. And not that I expect anybody to go bankrupt or anything like that, but there's other things that can interrupt the supply chain. We should know that by now. At the mail house, we deal with dozens of printers. We see delays and problems. One shop had a fire. Their press burnt up. They had to job everything out that they had to another printer. Weather power failure can shut printers down. There's many reasons why all of a sudden you're not going to be able to get your card fulfilled by somebody and mailed. So have a backup printer, number one, and then know how to do it yourself. There's lots of tools, EDDM tools. Brad will great programs. I have some utilities that I'm going to share for people who are just starting out and kind of pulling themselves up by the bootstraps. They're no way to be a substitute for what Will has, because his programs are just awesome. Um, and mine, I wrote them for business. I use them, and if anything changes with the postal service or any of the forms or EDDM, the way they do things, these will be totally worthless. So I'm not even going to charge for them. Um, but they will help get you going if you're really on a limited budget, which a lot of you are, which is the whole reason you're trying to start this card. My I'm scheduled to retire in May of next year. However, my wife has started having seizures. She's in the hospital right now, as a matter of fact, and she, because of this, even if they learn what's causing it and control it, she has lost her license. Basically, her license is on medical suspension for 6 months. So I might be diving into this a lot sooner than I thought I was going to. We'll see. I have some, non-compete issues with my employer right now that I would have to iron out, which I don't think would be difficult, because I have no intention of going into their service area. I live in a different state, so I think we can come to some kind of an agreement where I can launch this earlier, and who knows? We'll see what happens. But the next few months are going to be interesting, because this was not expected. So anyway, with all the talk of community cards, I really wanted to put my 2 cents in. They're a great idea. It's a great way to bring your price point down. The rotation ability avoids the cards looking stale, so that people maintain their interest and will pay attention to the card, and they won't be desensitized. I just think that it's silly for the small difference in cost to go down to a smaller card. Keep with the 9x12. All right. Everybody have a great day, and hopefully I'll be back to share some more. Take care.